My name is Amy, by the way, Amy Roberts. But I was raised in foster care primarily. Both of my parents were addicts. The majority of my family were addicts. I was not often faced with people who showed me any other way of life. I was kind of trained at a young age to prepare for prison. That was like an inevitable thing. And in my family, my dad, by the time I was like 11 or 12 years old, had the phone number for the only person in our family who would answer the phone if we went to jail drilled into my head, and I still remember it to this day. Um, so I kind of like, without knowing it, was preparing myself for the same type of life that I had witnessed. I had been told, parts of my life that I would be pregnant before I was 18, that I would drop out of school, that I would become a criminal, or at least, be in jail just like my dad. And all of those things came true. I was pregnant at 16, dropped out in the ninth grade, went to jail. I think my first time in jail was probably when I was like 19. And then later on became a felon. And then at some point in my life, I kind of like resigned myself to the fact that because of my criminal record, I was going to be stuck in fast food. My choices of jobs or a career path was something that I never even thought about. I think in my mind it was not even an option for me, so it wasn't something that I ever really put any thought into. So I found it more and more difficult as I got older to find a job that, one, paid me more than peanuts, that, two, valued me as a human being and as a good employee, which I think that I was. I probably wasn't as great during active use as I was after getting sober, but I still was a pretty hard worker. And gave me the freedom to prioritize my family, which I think may be the most important of them all, but I didn't even know that that was an option either. I didn't know there were jobs out there that would give you the space and time that you needed to put your family first and your mental health first. That was unheard of for me. But anyway, after having 3 kids, multiple failed relationships, and really, really crappy jobs, at the age of 32, I had kind of a spiritual awakening, I guess I would call it. One night when I was extremely intoxicated, and kind of had an epiphany and decided I wanted to turn my life around, and if I didn't do it very, very fast, then I was going to lose what little I had left, including my kids. And so I made the choice to stop using and stop drinking, and I haven't looked back. I decided that one of the first things that I was going to do was go back and get my GED. And at this point in time, I was a couple years sober and working for a fast food restaurant that I had been at for a very long time. They offered the GED program, and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get everything that I can out of this really kind of crappy situation. And so I took advantage of their GED program, and it took me a little longer than I wish that I'd had, but I did get my GED, and it was an unbelievable time for me. It was not something that I had ever imagined doing. It was not something that, I ever really would have committed myself to before that. But I knew that if I could do that, I could do anything. And then so once I accomplished that, I started seeking employment in areas that I thought that I would be good at, that I thought I would enjoy. One of those things was administration. I always liked working with computers. I was always really good with organization and answering phones. My customer service experience, I thought, was would be very valuable in an office type setting. So I started applying for jobs that were kind of in that area, and one in particular that I applied for was Lowe's corporate. And going into it, I was open about my criminal history. I was led to believe that that didn't necessarily count me out as someone that they would hire, and so I went through a months-long, grueling hiring process where I had 2 interviews, a drug test, background check, and then at the very end, after several months and a lot of hard work and communication, they denied me based on my criminal record, said that I would be a liability to the company. So I was devastated and really, heartbroken, because it was what I thought to be good pay, and would have been remote and, kind of flexible for my schedule. And I remember saying to someone, I am never going to find a job that is going to pay me a living wage, allow me to pick up my kids from school every day because they're outside of my, where I live. I was really kind of lost, and I reached out to someone that I knew at Sunrise who I had been incarcerated with back in 2011. She instructed me to reach out to her and let her know, when I could come in for an interview. And when I came in to meet with her and her crew for my interview, it was multiple people. It would normally be something that in any different setting would have been very stressful and overwhelming, but it was crazy how quickly I got comfortable. And by the end of the interview, I felt like, man, these are my people. Like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And it just felt like I was, for the first time in my life, with the people I was meant to be with and in the place that I was supposed to be. And I was so grateful when I got the email and the messages from Sue saying that I got the job. Being in peer support, which, for one, I think it's really important for me to say, I didn't even know what peer support was. I had no idea that this existed. I had gone my entire 4 years of sobriety alone and isolated. So coming into peer support and finding out that there was a whole community of people who support you no matter what your recovery journey looks like or where you're at in your recovery journey was amazing to me. To be able to look around and see all these people who got sober or in recovery in some different way and took some different road, and to find out that mine is not so unique. I'm not alone in recovery alone, and the tools that I used are the same tools that other people used, and to see that is just incredible. So now I am working at a job that is literally the dream job that I never knew that I dreamed of, because I never gave myself the chance to dream of anything more than what I had. And I'm making more than what I would consider for myself to be a living wage, that I never imagined being able to care for my family and provide for my family the way that I am now. And to also have the flexibility and a group of people who completely 100% put family and mental health in front of everything else, because without those things, you can't function for others. It is literally a dream come true to be doing something that makes me feel good about myself, and to be a part of something bigger than me, and to be a part of a whole community that I didn't even know existed. I jokingly say to family that I don't feel like I need therapy, because I have 50 plus individuals that I can pick up the phone and call for support. And every day when I go into work, it's how are you feeling? What's going on? Are you good? And is there anything we can do to support you? And peer support to me is connection with people who have been exactly where you have been. And that's the most important thing, I think.